very warm welcome to the first discussion at the World.
We have a very exciting panel today with different type of
online audience.
A session on investing in
Africa. It's young people.
We have one of the most exciting panels here.
the AI panel.
It is my great honor to welcome you to the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in 2025.
The cooperative world order we imagined 25 years ago has not turned into reality. Instead, we have entered a new era of harsh geostrategic competition.
America is back and open for business. Under the Trump administration, there will be no better place on earth to create jobs, build factories, or grow a company than right here in the good old USA.
If we have tit-for-tat retaliation, we're going to see double-digit global GDP losses.
This is the time of new technologies that we are all embracing, and that has the potential to raise productivity in the world.
My guess is that we can make 100 years of progress in areas like biology in 5 or 10 years if we really get this AI stuff right.
We are on a path where we're going to build machines that are more than tools, that have their own agency and their own goals. Do you understand the consequences?
A third of the planet is still not connected, so they don't have access to the magic that we're talking about here today.
At the end of the day, the technology will only be effective if it's trusted and it's adopted, and you can then create new opportunities for your people.
The defining challenge of our time is going to be the reskilling and upskilling of millions of people.
We need to be preparing kids for the world that they are inheriting. We need to change schools, not change kids.
Inequality in the last year has seen an enormous explosion.
Wealth should be shared, not concentrated in the hands of few people.
The question is not simply how much growth do we want, but also what type of growth.
Companies need to step up. And when they don't, governments need to step in.
Where you are born should not determine whether you live or die.
2024 is the first year we touch 1.5 degrees Celsius. We see the massive fires and suffering and floods and droughts, but it will with 100% certainty get worse before it potentially gets better.
Climate change is not a crisis. The crisis is our failure to use our collective intelligence to make the right choices.
I don't think people talk enough about the opportunity of decarbonization.
We now have 3 million more clean energy jobs than fossil energy jobs.
I know for sure that this is not only an energy transition, it has to be the beginning of a new era.
By embracing constructive optimism, we can shape the intelligent age as an era where every human being can realize its full potential.
It's going to require curiosity. It's going to require thinking outside the box, to engage, to explain, to push forward, forward, forward.
As long as we are not losing our humanity, there's still hope.
Geneva looks beautiful, is beautiful. It has a lake, it has this shadow. It's very peaceful, but there is a dark side to it. Everything evil in the world related to democide, unfortunately, comes from Geneva. You have WHO in Geneva, you have Gavi, then you have the WEF, the World Economic Forum, which my father was a co-founder and left Klaus Schwab out of disgust in the early 80s, that has diplomatic immunity. I, as a Swiss citizen, right here now, declare that the WEF is not eligible anymore for diplomatic immunity. I call on the Swiss authorities and security to arrest those people immediately. Why? The WEF, WHO, Gavi, Big Pharma, Big Tech, Bill Gates, all advocated a global humanity injection by a bioweapon, injecting nanolipids into 5.7 billion people. And we Swiss are hosting them? That's terrible. We cannot tolerate any entity that promotes poison to be injected into humanity. But you have done it. I'm the victim, I'm dying from it. And my mother too. It's a democide, and you'll be judged. It will be corrected in the name of humanity.
Maybe there is a Geneva Swiss syndrome, but definitely there is a UN syndrome. Because people are so afraid of what's going on because the United Nations is occupied, that people in there don't understand. Those who understand keep quiet or try to speak in different ways to help people to wake up.
Our young global leaders are selected by the top editors-in-chief around the world.
After our own internal review, we work with Heidrick & Struggles externally and 65 offices around the world to vet the shortlisted candidates. And finally, they go to a selection committee chaired by Her Majesty Queen Rania of Jordan and prominent business leaders and politicians and media leaders.
Around 150 are chosen each year, of whom about 125 become active, and they go to Davos and they go to regional meetings.
I benefit from young global leader early days. When I listened to Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and George Soros, these guys, at that time we don't have that many people.
A lot of folks here knew each other already, and my hope was to meet them for the first time, and it's going pretty well.
We can easily address taboos. We can tell politicians how things really are, which obviously once we're 10 years further and we're all running countries or huge companies or whatever, it might become slightly more difficult.
There was an initiative launched called the Public Leadership Initiative by YGLs, and the aim was to try to capture the interest of young global leaders, no matter which sector that they are from, to potentially serve their countries. We've already had a number of people that have gone through that program who have then decided to run for office.
My commitment will be to add value. We'll be part of the Young Leaders Initiative.
Mrs. Merkel, Tony Blair, they were all, even President Putin, they were all young global leaders before.
Prime Minister of Ireland, Leo Varadkar, particularly welcome because you are also one of our young global leaders.
Sheikh Hamdan is, despite his young age, chairman of the Executive Council of Dubai, the highest government authority in the Emirate. Very proud to say that His Highness is also a young global leader of the World Economic Forum.
The leader of the UK right now, David Cameron, was named a young global leader in 2006.
Mamuka Bakadze, the Prime Minister of Georgia and a young global leader.
Haakon of Norway. Haakon is the Crown Prince of Norway. He's also a member of our Young Global Leaders alumni community.
President Calderon, you had been selected in 1997 as a global leader for tomorrow.
You have already in 1993 been here for the first time as a global leader for tomorrow. And Klaus Schwab, I really have to congratulate you for your farsightedness. You picked out again the right individual.
Monsieur De Croo, vous avez été Young Global Leader du Forum économique mondial. Vous avez récemment fait une visioconférence avec Klaus Schwab.
After the birthday, I'm out of Young Global Leader of Davos. I finished because over 40 is finished this time.
I'd like to explore a little bit what it's like to be a new young global leader.
Not young anymore. Gavin Newsom, the young, energetic, innovative mayor of San Francisco. He is also among those who the young global leaders here at Davos this year.
Bozidar Jelic, the Deputy Prime Minister for European Integration and Minister of Science and Technology Development of Serbia and a young global leader.
She was named a young global leader by the World Economic Forum. Minister Jolie.
Minister Mohamed Lutfi, the Minister of Trade of Indonesia and a young global leader.
Juan Carlos Pinzón Bueno, Minister of the National Defense of Colombia, young global leader.
Chrystia Freeland, she's the Minister of International Trade of Canada and used to be a young global leader of the World Economic Forum, if I may mention that.
I'm afraid it's true.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets, So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I'm with the president, who is a young global leader.
Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. Could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad, and the video is really bad as well.
We're developing through technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
Let me introduce my excellent panel. I'm starting in the middle with Chrystia Freeland. She's the Minister of International Trade of Canada and used to be a young global leader of the World Economic Forum, if I may mention that.
I'm afraid it's true.
On the far end of the panel.
As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC. This will help mitigate the risk that these platforms receive illicit funds, increase the quality and quantity of intelligence received by FINTRAC, and make more information available to support investigations by law enforcement into these illegal blockades. We are making these changes because we know that these platforms are being used to support illegal blockades and illegal activity, which is damaging the Canadian economy. The government will also bring forward legislation to provide these authorities to FINTRAC on a permanent basis. Second, the government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades.
Confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. And the actual follow-up is, I'm just wondering whether the bank accounts will be targeted of individuals who donated to the Give, Send, Go and the GoFundMe campaigns. Are they considered designated people under the Emergencies Act, meaning that their credit cards could be cut and financial services are targeting them as well?
Okay, so the names of both individuals and entities, as well as crypto wallets, have been shared by the RCMP with financial institutions, and accounts have been frozen, and more accounts will be frozen. Crowdfunding platforms and payment service providers have started the registration process with FinTrack. In terms of the specifics on whose accounts are being frozen, you now have the regulations. The financial service providers have those regulations as well, and they, working with law enforcement, will be making the operational decisions.
This year's theme for 2019 for the meeting is Globalization 4.0 and shaping the architecture of the next wave of globalization, which is the Industrial Revolution, the fourth Industrial Revolution, which you literally wrote a book on. Can you tell me what makes up the fourth Industrial Revolution?
We are living in a time of multiple technological innovations. I just mentioned artificial intelligence, blockchain, and you could add and add. And all those technologies together will fundamentally transform the world, not just business models, but economies, society, politics, and so on. So when we speak about Globalization 4.0, we want to address the global architecture which is needed in this new context of the fourth industrial revolution.
And what was the issue with the last wave of globalization?
Oh, we see it already now. There are so many issues like inequality, trade wars, and I could go on and on. So the danger is that we deal with those issues, we address those issues with patchwork policies. We try to find simple solutions for very complex issues. So what we want to do is to show, no, the whole complexity has to be addressed and the new context has to be addressed.
These epidemic events are getting more and more disruptive to health and to economy. And the reason we called it Event 201 is we knew eventually one of those days, one of those events would be the big one. And that big one would really challenge our capacity to respond. And to respond to the big one, we do need to have all hands on deck. Participants are confronted by a hypothetical scenario that presents to them the challenges of a response. So we will say, here's a hypothetical disease outbreak. This is the way it might be evolving. And these are some of the challenges that you'll see that you'll have to address to address the disruptions that you're seeing to your healthcare system or to your organization. All stakeholders realize pretty quickly just how underprepared we are and just how much is possible when we work together. And that the individual actions of any government or company won't add up to a proper global response. I think if we're honest with ourselves, collectively, the international community has never done enough to respond to global health security challenges. That we knew before COVID that the world was underprepared for biological risk. When we walked into the room in New York, if you would have asked, do you think the world is prepared for a pandemic? I think everyone around that table would have said no. But it's when they walked out, I think it's when we really knew that if we are going to get ready, we need to have operationalized and integrated public-private cooperation that we haven't seen before.
The pandemic has radically changed the world as we know it, and the actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination. Hands up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect global leaders of conspiracy. But the world's not that simple. Every one of us has differing priorities, values, and ideas. That's part of why solutions are so hard to come by, and why we all need to be involved in the decision-making. Because whether it's politicians, CEOs, academics, activists, or you, we're all about getting people together, even those you may not like, to sit down at the table and develop solutions that work for all of us. But
we need enormous trust between the private sector and the public sector for this to actually work. That trust is hard to come by.
it's time for people to work together, listen to each other, and build this trust so we can move towards a better world. And we really need one. Because while the pandemic affects us all, it's clear it affects some more than others.
The first people who are hit are the people at the front, those who are vulnerable. It is those on the front line who take it first, and that is simply unacceptable.
See, at the start of 2020, 1% of the world's population owned 44% of the wealth. And since the start of the pandemic, billionaires have increased theirs by more than 25%, whilst 150 million people fell back into extreme poverty. And with climate change set to dwarf the damage caused by the pandemic, the message from 2020 should be abundantly clear.
Capitalism, as we know it, is dead. This obsession that we have had with maximizing profits for shareholders alone has led to incredible inequality and a planetary emergency.
But no one can do this alone, and top-down approaches won't get us anywhere, because everything we've learned in our work has shown us that diverse voices lead to better results. And it's for these reasons that the forum talks about something called stakeholder capitalism, which would shift businesses away from just profit. Because
if we want to change where the focus of our recovery will go, then we need a new dashboard for the new economy. And that needs to encompass people, planet, prosperity, and institutions.
Giving people a real stake in the economy and putting well-being before growth. And that's all about getting the right people in the right place at the right time.
We must rebuild our relationship with nature for the survival of the peoples and our planet.
We have a window of time which is closing, and we need everybody who cares to get together and find solutions now.
It's the people